ever feel like you're constantly like swimming upstream
Yeah,
when it comes to building, good habits, I mean.
totally. It's a struggle so many people deal with.
It really is. And you end up feeling like you're stuck in this crazy productivity boot camp, right?
Oof, yeah. The pressure is real.
Well, today we're doing a deep dive on how to build routines that actually work. And no, you don't have to become a productivity robot.
Love that. It's about working smarter, not harder.
Exactly. So we've got this text here all about building a routine that works for you, and we're breaking down the top 5 strategies.
Awesome. Let's jump in.
The first one is start small, which, okay, seems obvious, but why is that so important when we're talking about routines?
Because, honestly,
Right.
most of us just set ourselves up for failure right out of the gate.
How so?
We try to do way too much at once. It's like, okay, imagine right now you're going from like 0 exercise to an hour every day, plus eating perfectly healthy, and meditating for 20 minutes.
Yeah, it'd last about 2 days.
Right. It's overwhelming. It's a recipe for burnout. But if you just start with something small, like, okay, 3 times a week, I'm going to take a 10-minute walk.
Way more doable.
Right. You get that small win, and you build from there.
Okay, so I'm starting small, I'm feeling good, but how do we go from those like little wins to habits that actually stick?
Consistency. That's the key.
Yeah.
And it's not about being perfect every single day.
Oh, thank goodness.
Seriously. Life happens. It's more about just showing up regularly, even when you're not feeling it.
So it's more about building that habit rather than like how perfectly I'm following it every day.
Exactly. Think of it like, building a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. And did you know it takes, on average, 66 days to form a new habit?
Really? I had no idea there was actual like science behind that.
Oh, yeah. Although it can take anywhere from 18 to 254 days, depending on the person and the habit.
Wow, that's a huge range.
It is. So some things might click really fast, and others, might take a bit longer.
Yeah.
It's not about being good or bad at habits. It's about understanding that time frame and being patient with yourself.
Which leads perfectly into our next strategy. Set realistic goals. This one feels super personal. Any tips for figuring out what realistic actually means for, like, me specifically, not just some generic advice?
For sure. It's all about your lifestyle and your values. Don't try to be someone you're not. Like, if you're a night owl, don't force yourself to be a morning person just because some guru said so.
I feel so seen right now.
Right. Embrace your night owl ways. Maybe a realistic goal for you is making sure you get 8 hours of sleep, even if that means tweaking your work schedule or like maybe saying no to some things in the evening. It's all about working with yourself.
Okay, get ready, because this next strategy is a bit counterintuitive.
Right.
It's incorporate flexibility.
It's funny how we think routine should be so rigid.
I know. It seems like it defeats the purpose, right? Like, isn't the whole point of a routine that it is?
Right. But here's the thing. Life is unpredictable, and that's okay. Flexibility isn't about throwing your entire routine out the window. It's about giving yourself some grace when things inevitably come up, like missing one single workout. It's not going to completely derail your progress. But if you don't account for a vacation, you might end up missing 3 weeks, and that can be tough to get back from.
Oh, that's a good point.
It's the same with anything, like work deadlines, family stuff. Just build in some wiggle room so you don't feel like you failed if you need to adjust.
This is actually a huge realization for me because I've been trying to get a morning routine down for ages, and I beat myself up if I miss a day. This idea of flexibility just like changes everything for me. Do you find it's been helpful in your own routine?
100%. It takes the pressure off. Okay, last strategy. Tracking your progress. Thoughts on the best ways to keep track without it becoming like another chore on your to-do list.
Please tell me there's a better way than another to-do list. I am the queen of starting a planner and then never touching it again after 3 days.
Oh, I feel that. The beauty is there are a ton of different methods out there, so you can find what works for you. Some people love to physically write things down. That can be really satisfying.
I can see that.
Right. And then there are others who love apps, because it's easy and visual.
Right.
But the key with whatever you choose, make it easy and make it rewarding. Sometimes the traditional to-do list just isn't it.
So what else can we do instead? How do we make tracking rewarding?
Okay, imagine this. You open your habit tracker app, and instead of this boring checklist, you have this colorful graph showing your progress. You've got badges for hitting milestones.
Ooh, I like where this is going.
Right. You can even share your successes with a community if you want to.
Yeah.
Suddenly, tracking isn't a chore. It's like celebrating all the awesome progress you're making.
That's such a good point. It's like we focus so much on the I have to do this part of building a routine, that we forget to like make it fun or even just, like you said, rewarding. This has been so eye-opening. I actually feel optimistic now. Like maybe I really can do this whole routine thing after all.
You totally can.
It feels more approachable now, less about forcing myself to have more willpower and more about strategy
Right.
and being nice to myself.
Exactly. Working with yourself is always the goal. Small changes, consistency, and a good dose of self-compassion.
I love that. So, listeners, as we wrap up, what's your biggest takeaway from today? What's one tiny change you can make this week? Until next time, happy habit building.